We are streaming through Zoom, so there might be a slight delay. I have my Facebook actually pulled up here. If anyone does comment, I'm going to try to get to it, or Dina can if they comment or have any questions for us. But again, there might be that slight pause in between. So how are you, Dina? I'm so excited to chat to you today for our first live together.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited to be here and now finally connecting online, Zoom, Facebook. Technology is amazing to me these days, and I love that we are able to do this and reach out to so many people. It's very exciting.
No, it is. And a little nerve-wracking as well. It's definitely outside of our comfort zone, but we wanted to do this because we've been chatting about our sole purpose and why we do what we do and what we are on this earth for, and why we decided to collaborate on this together. And we wanted to share how we met and our story, because it felt a little bit serendipitous, or like fate has brought us back together. So it's really exciting for us. And I was sharing with Dina that I really believe deep down that my sole purpose on this earth is really to help people stop playing it small at their lives and to seize challenges as growth opportunities so they can really, evolve and elevate their lives. So that purpose has kind of brought us together in, again, a very fateful sort of way. So going back to our story a little bit, we've actually known each other for 10 years, 10, 11 years, which is quite a long time. Yeah, and Dina was one of my clients when I worked at a small women's only gym. And she was one of my absolute best clients. She was so dedicated and motivated. And to be honest, I was a trainer at that time that believed in things that I don't believe in anymore. My training at that point really talked about calories in and calories out, treating the body sort of as a calculator. So I had Dina doing food journals where she was logging every calorie. And we joke about this because she actually even logged her gum, her chewing gum. and when I saw that, I was like, my goodness, okay, yeah, we don't need to go to that extent. But it was really cute. Yeah, she had these Excel spreadsheets where, again, she tracked everything. Nowadays there are a lot more apps for doing that type of stuff, and I don't think, MyFitnessPal, I'm not sure how old it is, but there was nothing like that then. So this was kind of old school. Anyway, my journey at that point was I was still quite disordered in terms of how I viewed food and my body. And I was telling Dina, I haven't actually shared this with many people at all, but I started dieting when I was 11. And it was one of those things, I saw my mom doing it a lot, and she had fitness videos. And she had these, it was old school, because this was in the early 90s, where it was like the leotards with the thong. And I would do these videos with my mom, and in my head, I thought, that is what I want to do one day. And I actually wanted it. I wanted to have a fitness video, which that hasn't happened. But at age 11, that was when I knew what I wanted to do. And things didn't quite work out in such a smooth way, because I got into extreme dieting and exercise at that young age. I lost a bunch of weight, and that was a very pivotal time in my life in terms of development, sort of pre-puberty. So it wasn't good. And I moved to the States, and I actually had a swim coach that told me I had to start eating more, because we were swimming for 2 to 3 hours a day. And he said, you need to gain some muscle. You have to eat. I was that girl that was sitting on the bus while the rest of the team, the swim team, were in the restaurants eating at McDonald's or whatever. It was usually fast food. So I actually rebounded badly and went the other direction. I think my body, I was growing and I was so hungry, I sort of just ate everything. And I quickly gained weight. I don't know how much. I wasn't weighing myself at that point, 30 or 40 pounds. Luckily, at that point, it wasn't too much of a stress in my life. I didn't feel terrible about my body. But then when I started college, my mom was undergoing cancer treatment for breast cancer. I thought, I really need to make sure I'm as healthy as I can be. And I became a group fitness instructor while I was studying to become a high school teacher. And then I did massage and personal training, and it sort of evolved into what it is today. But when I opened TwoFit in Malawi, now just after you and I met, Dina, 10 years ago, I felt immense pressure as this fitness studio owner to have a better body, the quote unquote ideal body that I thought I should have. And so I was yo-yoing with all these different diets. I, was doing the low carb, the keto, the strict paleo, counting macros, all the things, and exercising more and more. I just believed that I had to do more in order to get that body that I wanted. And I ended up just running myself into the ground. I started just dreading waking up in the morning. I had no energy. I was diagnosed with low thyroid, which is also a negative consequence for extreme dieting, not eating enough. So I had lowered my metabolism. I had my hormones tested, and they literally were like, didn't exist. I had like no estrogen, no testosterone, nothing. It was worse. Literally, I say this, it was worse than a 90-year-old grandma. And Brian and I were thinking about having kids at this point, and no doctor could tell me why, because I'd actually gained weight. They couldn't tell me why my hormones were a mess. Typically, when hormones look like that, the stereotypical is a very, very lean, athletic female athlete. So that's called the female athlete triad, which I didn't have because I wasn't super lean. So they were very confused. They didn't know what was going on. And I decided enough was enough. I was going to take this matter into my own hands, and I was going to get well. And once again, the pendulum kind of swung the other way. I ate all the foods that I'd been depriving myself of, cheese and ice cream and brownies and whatever. And I just allowed that to happen. And my hormones came back quite quickly. So I was able to get pregnant. And then subsequently, I had 5 years of miscarriages. And when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, I once again came to this place where I felt broken and really lost. And for me, the thing was embracing that my body is what it is, letting it be, and working on my mindset. And really being okay no matter what, that having kids wasn't going to define me, that my body wasn't going to define me. I was going to stop playing it small, show up in my life, and enjoy things. Because I don't know about you, Dina, but if there's one thing that this pandemic has taught me, it is that life really, really is not something we can take for granted, and it can change in such an instant. So my goal was, to just stop this roller coaster for myself and share this with other women. And when we decided to make this huge transition back to the US, I had sent out an email blast to let a few of my clients know. And I don't even know how, because there were different lists that I had, but you were on it.
Yes.
And you received this email.
I hadn't been receiving your emails for years. And all of a sudden this one just showed up in my box. And not only that, it was an email that I no longer check and I don't regularly use. So for whatever reason, I had an inkling that day where I said, I'm going to go and check out this email. And there was Michelle's email, like the first or second from the top. So there was no way I was going to miss it. Yeah. And I couldn't resist. I opened it up and I saw the pictures of you and the boys and your family. And it was just, my heart leapt. And I'm like, I got to reply. I gotta let her know where I've been these past few years. Yeah. And it was just it was just meant to be. That can't be a coincidence.
Right.
That you sent the email and I just happened to read it. And then I shared my story with Michelle, and it's kind of interesting because I took a completely different path, but ended up learning the same lessons and results from that Michelle was just speaking about. For me, I was I wasn't a skinny mini in high school or anything, but I also didn't worry too much about my weight. It wasn't until I got into my 20s where I started thinking, I've got to look good. I've got to be fit and thin. And I did. I got myself, I got my weight down to an ideal weight, and I became fit and active. And I was very happy with how I looked and how I felt physically. Then what happened, like, and that was unfortunately when Michelle left for Africa, she left before the downhill spiral, and it's not because she left, mind you.
Blame me for this.
It's not because she left, but I started dedicating myself to my job wholeheartedly, and I love my main job, and that was it's just a matter of I didn't have the right balance. So I stopped exercising. I stopped caring about what I ate because my heart went into my job and helping and working with others. But the damage I did to myself mentally, physically, it was just wrong of me to do it that way. And I wish I could go back 10 years ago and tell, past Dina, knock it off. Like, but what I ended up gaining 100 pounds. So I was the fit, thin person. And now I'm looking at myself in the mirror going, when did this happen? How did this happen? So I started going down different routes to try and fix this weight problem. And it still was that old, I was going back to that old mentality of calories in, calories out, and that's it. Mm-hmm. It is just this mathematical formula. What I discovered over time was I had an opportunity to do a little bit of self-evaluation, and I was able to start thinking about things differently, looking at my mindset and the approach that I was taking on the world, and looking at how can I like to call it as I gave myself an attitude adjustment. I was yeah, I was an angry, frustrated person, and I looked at it as, how can I not be? If anything, I'm not going to worry about my weight, what I'm eating, what I'm exercising. I'm just, how can I not be a frustrated person all the time? And once I did that, it was like a weight had lifted off my shoulders, and I figured out how to do that for myself. And then I was, well, how can I fix my body then? And it was amazing because I took little small steps to fix my nutrition. And then the weight just started coming right off. This was before I even started exercising regularly. The weight just started melting right off. I've lost about half of the weight I've put on, and that came naturally. And that's the beauty of it. That came naturally. I didn't try to do that. I wasn't worried about what my scale said. I wasn't worrying so much about how my clothes fit. It was just, I was exploring new things, and I was becoming happier. And interesting side effect, you talked about your autoimmune disease, and I don't talk about this a whole lot with a lot of people, but I had suffered for about 30 years of my life with chronic hives. I broke out in hives every single day. And
I remember seeing it when you were working out with me.
Yeah, it would break out, and it was hard to grip weights because I could feel it on the palms of my hands. I couldn't hold anything heavy because it was the pressure on my hands would hurt so much, and it was debilitating at times. And I would go into work some days, and people would think I was crying all night just because my eyes got, my face
all red and
yeah. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's just my hives. And well, the crazy part was, once I changed my nutrition and I focused on a diet that works for me, my hives went away. I have been hive free for 2 years now.
That gives me chills. Gives me chills. I mean, that's amazing.
Because I did it naturally. I got to stop taking pills and medication for it, and that was amazing thing.
Yeah. Oh
so it's, oh gosh, my purpose I've discovered over these years is I want to help other women get over these hurdles of being unstuck themselves. I want to help them cultivate the true change that they are desiring and want, and they can have it. I know you guys all can have it. It's just figuring out that path. And while I had to do it on my own, I really wish I had Michelle then, because I mean, we could have discovered this together and kind of shortcutted it a little bit. But that's what I want. I want to help other women figure this out in a faster pace, and not go through some of the hurdles of wondering, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? And certainly, you know, doing that alongside with Michelle, I think this is a beautiful thing to team up with and do, and to help. It could be any women, but I know we're primarily targeting like busy women because, well, actually, what woman isn't busy?
Yeah, this is so true. What woman isn't?
And I think that's the hurdle is how do you make this manageable with a family, with a job, with you know, how do you do it day to day with the kids, and all these little hurdles. So I'm sorry, I'm totally taking over the conversation.
No, not at all. I mean, your story is so inspiring. It's absolutely incredible because, again, it wasn't just about, and you saying like you had the ideal body and you fixing yourself. That is also something that we don't believe in now. Like there is no, like, what is that? One person's ideal might not be someone else's ideal, you know? So it's all about really tuning into what feels good for our bodies, and really, what are you willing to sacrifice in your life? Because for me, I remember, I mean, obviously, again, the pendulum swinging and eating everything in sight, you're going to gain weight, and then that's probably not going to feel good in your body. But sometimes it does have to happen. It's sort of the process when you have been depriving yourself and your metabolism has crashed for a bit, and actually refeeding yourself and resting extra is really, really healing, can be very, very healing if that's something that you have not done for a long time. And that's sort of what I had to go through, but it was tough. You know, I remember there were times that I would just throw all my clothes in a huge pile in the middle of the floor and just be like in a flood of tears because nothing fit. And when I decided to change my mindset, I said, I put all those clothes away. And I was like, I am going to wear things that make me feel good now. I'm going to move in a way that makes me feel good and empowered, because the reason I chose fitness and health was because it is so empowering for women. And people come all the time into our studio, or when we had our studio at 2Fit, and they would think that they couldn't lift weights or that it was going to make them bulky. They were scared to do things. And just seeing how strong they would get, it's amazing. And so I love fitness for that. But there's the other side of the coin. There's so many myths out there about, again, why we should be exercising. And it's not to burn calories, you guys. That is the worst reason to exercise. So that is something that we really want to educate people on. But moving in a way, again, that feels good and honors yourself. And that can change from day to day. And especially for women, our hormones are different on a day-to-day basis. Guys, I mean, their hormones can also be different, but it's not the same. They don't have the menstrual cycle to work around. You know, they can't have kids. There are a lot of different things about how women should train and how women should eat than men. So a lot of the trendy things that you see online right now, things like intermittent fasting and really high intensity interval training, HIIT training, things like that, those are actually stresses on the body. And some women can take that if other areas of their life are super balanced and they're feeling good and sleeping really well and nourishing themselves, and other women simply can't. And I'm one of those women that has super, super sensitive hormones. And if I try to do those things, intermittent fasting, IF, for me was one of the worst things I could have ever done for myself. It made me crazy. It made me actually obsess about food because I wasn't eating, right, for these long stretches, and I would just fantasize about when I could eat again. And I felt like I could never get full, even though I hadn't had food in like almost a day, you know. And so it really damaged my relationship with myself, my self-trust. And that's what diets do. They damage your self-trust. They make you think that you are broken, and it's an awful place to be in. And we really believe that we can help women break free from that. So I don't actually know if anyone has, I haven't checked over if anyone's on here or commenting. Actually, it's different being on Zoom.
Comments. Yeah, we've got some great comments from Liz and Courtney. I mean, thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, and I agree, Michelle is the best. She is absolutely.
That's so nice. I'm not even seeing it on here. Hang on.
Yeah, it was, I love that you bring this up, because women are so different, and that you can't just go online and say, okay, there's something that's working for everybody. This is the trend, and this is how I'm going to do it, and it's going to work for me. That's not, a best approach. It's, you could try it, certainly, but what we want to do is help you discover what works for you, not
Exactly.
what's working for everybody. And that's the beauty of what Michelle and I are trying to cultivate here, is that it's everything is individualized: the diet, the exercise, what you have to do mentally, where you are in life. And that's why you can't just go and Google something and try it, and then it's just not going to work that way. So we really want to truly be here to support everybody, and in any way that you need. If you just need the support and nutrition, that's what we can do. If you just need it in exercise, that's what we can do. If you need it to help manage your stress levels, or all three, we're here for you.
Yeah, and really it is that holistic approach. It's really, they all feed off each other. And I like to call it becoming your own detective so you can become your own expert, because that's what it is. And if you see this as an experiment, we would never give people meal plans. I mean, I don't even know what Dina likes to eat, to be honest. I could never even say, hey, Dina, you should be eating this. I mean, because I don't know. So if you see it as this journey of exploration and becoming a detective, it actually makes things fun. And because come on, let's be honest here. If you're going to go on a super restrictive plan, of course you're going to say you're going to do it next Monday, because you don't want to do it, because it's miserable. You feel miserable, you have no energy. So it becomes this perpetual cycle of, it's like punitive. You're punishing yourself, and then you're gonna, okay, quickly, I've got to eat it all tonight, because again, when Monday comes, I'm gonna go at it hard. I've got to start, diet starts Monday, strict exercise. And it's not about that. It really isn't. And it doesn't have to be painful and suffering. It can be done in a way that you actually enjoy and will sustain for life. Because if you're doing something right now as a temporary solution to fix yourself, your results are going to be temporary. They are not going to last. You are going to be yo-yoing for the rest of your life. You're going to be feeling down about yourself, broken, exhausted. And we've been there. We've both been there, again, in very different ways.
Yes.
And to be honest, the diet industry is so, I mean, it's a multi-billion dollar industry, right? It's around us all the time. I remember, looking at Jessica Biel, to me, has the perfect body. What is her diet? Because if I eat her diet, then maybe my body will look like hers, No, now I'm at a point where I've had 2 kids that I truly believe wouldn't be here today if I didn't change my mindset about this and accept my body where it was. And I feel better in my body than I've ever felt, even though it's not, quote unquote, the ideal of what I thought I should be at, when 10 years ago, what I was striving for. And I'm okay with that. I feel like I can enjoy any food. I'm not even thinking about food. Be present with my kids. I shared on one of the other lives that my niece April, she noticed the behaviors I was doing when she was 3 years old. I really tried to never talk poorly about my body and be a good role model for her, because it was so important to me. But I wasn't eating foods with her. I was preparing separate meals, and she noticed my actions. So at that point was when I decided I couldn't do that anymore. And I know a lot of you on here, or who may be watching this, are moms too, and you do not want your children to have no confidence. You want them to be enjoying their lives, showing up, not playing it small, all those things. So, you have to step up and become that person so that they have that role model in their life, because your words are not as powerful as what you are actually doing day to day. So.
Absolutely. They watch, they learn so fast, and they pick it up. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's funny, you talk about your own self-image and how you present that and everything. My self-image right now, I'm happy with where I'm going. And it's funny that I have this, I'm sort of on my journey. I'm still in my journey of weight loss and discovery and everything, but I'm no longer dreading the outcome. How am I going to get there? It doesn't feel like an overwhelming task. What I'm doing is I'm having fun exploring that. I'm enjoying it. And who knows where the possibilities are going to take me. And when you start having that kind of outlook on it, the kids will definitely pick that up, and then they will be more positive, and they won't have those stigmas relating to those issues as well.
Yeah.
They're just going to know that mom's enjoying this, or in my case, Aunt Dina's enjoying this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it never becomes an issue.
Yeah.
So
and it's just freedom. You can just enjoy your life. And again, we don't know how long any of us have on this planet. So it is so worth it. You guys, if you have any questions about this, you can message us. We are here. We want to support. We're going to be doing some free trainings. Again, this was actually, how long was this? We talked for a while. Huh?
A half hour.
I don't know why I can't. Yeah, this was longer. Thank you if you guys showed up for this. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. I can't see it on my feed right now. But so are there any questions that anyone had?
Nobody's posted any questions, but please feel free, to reach out to us. You can send either of us a message, and we'll be happy to chat and help you through with anything you need at all. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you all.
Yeah, it was great being here and seeing everyone and chatting with you, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Okay. Yeah, and enjoy. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, for some people were in Malawi, so it's the end of the day, but it's just kind of middle of the day here for us in Florida. So Dina's actually only like 15 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
So all right. Bye everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.